Start.
Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to deal with the poem Fire and Ice, written by Robert Frost. So, before going through the poem, we will have some information about Robert Frost. Because last year also you have seen the poem written by Robert Frost. What was the name? The name is Road Not Taken. We have seen that poem, and now we will go through his biography. That is basically Robert Frost was American poet, but his poems were published initially in England. So he was called the poet of common man. His poems were very much popular with common people because he wrote or composed the poem in such a way that common people could read it easily. And that's why he was the most popular poet among those time. Now we will go through his biographic information. He was born on 26th of March 1874 in San Francisco, US. Died in 19th January 1963, Boston, US. Awards, he got so many prestigious awards in his life, like Pulitzer Award, Congressional Award, and so many awards. He was also the very close associate of 10 American President John Kennedy. He played also a very important key role in negotiation during the First World War. This was the time when he wrote this poem, Fire and Ice, when the First World War was going on. This was its mindset. That's why he wrote this poem, Fire and Ice. Fire and Ice is very symbolical poem. Means it has got one surface meaning, superficial meaning, and another symbolical meaning. So he wrote so many symbolical poems. Now we will go through the superficial meaning of the poem. What is the superficial meaning? That when First World War was going on, he was in the side mindset. There was a threat to his mind. And during this period, he wrote this poem, Fire and Ice. He symbolizes fire for desire, lust, the lust of the human being, wants. Because nowadays, people are running after physical comforts, and to have physical comforts, the human beings are ready to do anything. And another, ice. Ice symbolizes hate or hatred. Now we are fighting in the name of caste, creed, race, religion, and these things are growing hatred among people. And out of hatred we are killing each other. So first of all, we go through the superficial meaning. According to Bible, or according to Orthodox people who believed in Bible, Bible says that the world will end by fire. It is a belief of Orthodox people who believe in Bible. But some scientific people, having scientific attitude, they say that there will be a nuclear war in the world, and then whole earth will frozen to the death. This was the two different opinions of different kind of people. But here, that Robert Frost wants to say that no need, that there is no need to have any fire or ice to end the world, but that human desire and hate itself will end the human race on the earth. who will be responsible for the end of earth, or the human beings race on the earth. So let us see line by line for the poem. So actually this is the meditation of Robert Frost on the end of the world, how the end and the world will get end. We will go through line by line. Some say the world will end in fire, some say in ice. From heart I have tasted of desire, I hold with those who favor fire. But if it had to perish twice, I think I know enough of it to say that for destruction ice is also great and would suffice. So let us come to first. This is the 9-line poem. One is long, I think it is 8 syllable, and another is 4 syllable. One long line and another short line. This type of composition is here. Very brilliant composition by Robert Frost. We will go through the poem line by line now. You also read the poem from your book. So some say the world will end in the fire. Some say in ice. There are two different opinions about the end of the world. Some say in the according to Bible, the people, Orthodox people say that the world will end by fire. And some people say, having paradox attitude or scientific attitude or intellectual view, they say that there will be a nuclear war in the world, and thus the whole world will be frozen to the death. So this is the natural phenomenon in the world. But he is not, he is agree with it, but he said that human desires and hate itself will end the world. No natural phenomenon is required to end the world. Or by natural phenomena, world will never be ended. So from heart I have tasted of desire. From heart I have tasted. Tasted means experience. Of desire I hold with those who favor fire. Means I experienced, I tasted of desire means मतलब जो लोगों की इच्छा होती है वो या लालच होता है, इसकी वजह से लोग जो है एक दूसरे को मारने पर उतर जाते हैं. इसलिए मैंने देखा है लोगों को अपनी इच्छाओं की पूर्ति के लिए क्या क्या करते हैं. तो इसलिए आई होल्ड विद दोज, मतलब जो फायर को फेवर करते हैं कि फायर से पृथ्वी का नाश होगा, उनके साथ मैं हूँ. इस अल्टीमेटली इज इन फेवर ऑफ डिजायर. वो कहते हैं कि मनुष्य की इच्छाओं की वजह से ही पृथ्वी का अंत हो सकता है. बट इट हैड टू पेरिश ट्वाइस. पेरिश मीन्स डिस्ट्रॉय. पेरिश मतलब पूरा डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिया. बट इफ इट हैड टू पेरिश ट्वाइस मतलब अगर दुनिया को 2 बार अगर नष्ट करना है, दुनिया को अगर 2 बार नष्ट करना है, तो आई थिंक आई नो इनफ ऑफ हेट. पहले तो एक बार किस चीज से दुनिया नष्ट होगी? डिजायर से, लोगों की लालच की वजह से, डिजायर की वजह से, कभी न पूरी होने वाली इच्छाओं की वजह से. और दूसरी बात जो है, दूसरी बार अगर पृथ्वी को नष्ट करना है तो वो कहते हैं कि ये हेट जो है, एक दूसरे को हम हेट करते हैं. इट बियर्स आउट ऑफ आवर डिजायर इटसेल्फ. सो हेट की वजह से भी ये दुनिया दोबारा नष्ट की जा सकती है. इसलिए इज आल्सो ग्रेट एंड वुड बी सफाइस. सफाइस मतलब सफिशिएंट. तो इसका जो एक छोटी पोएम है, इसका सार यही है. द मेन central idea of the poem is that no natural phenomenon is needed to end the world. Actually, we human beings ourselves will be responsible for the end of human being or the world. So it is our duty to inculcate good qualities among us and to adopt the principle live and let live. Only then we will be happy on this world. Okay. Now we will come to the poetic devices used in this lesson, used in this poem. So now first of all, let's see the poem. This poem basically written in key as in always I can give us. This is also called blank verse. Now you see that this is a simple and small 9-line poem, and this poem is called as free verse. This is also called as blank verse. Rhyming scheme, we will see that fire, desire, fire, and then ice, twice, ice, and suffice, and then that suffice, and then C is new word, so the red is C. So the rhyming scheme will be A. As this is 9-line poem, we will split this poem in 3-line cell to decide its rhyming scheme. So the rhyming scheme will be A, B, A. This is 3-line. Then okay. Now rhyming scheme is fire, ice, and desire. Is A. The first cell is A, B, A. The next is A, B, C, and then B, C, B. So this is the rhyming scheme: A, B, A, B, C, and B, C, B. Now we will see the poetic devices used. Actually, in these poetic devices, we used to find out the figure of species. You know figure of species, what is? So first of all, first poetic device is used in this poem is anaphora. What is anaphora? Anaphora is repetition of same word in the consecutive line. Now here is some say, and some say. So this is the example of the same words are used in consecutive line. Some say, some say. That's why this is anaphora. Then another is alliteration. What is alliteration? Alliteration means the repetition of consonant, same consonant sound in the same line. एक ही लाइन में कॉन्सोनेंट साउंड जब रिपीट होता है तो उसको बोलते हैं एलिटरेशन. इसमें देखिए लुक हियर सम से. दिस इज द एग्जांपल ऑफ एलिटरेशन. ये क्या है? एलिटरेशन. ओके. नाउ वी गो टू अनदर एग्जांपल दैट इज assonance. What is assonance? Assonance is repetition of vowel sound in the same line. Assonance. Assonance एक figure of speech है जहाँ पर जो vowel sound होता है वो एक ही लाइन में बार बार dominantly repeat होता है. That figure of speech is called as assonance. So assonance we will find here. You will also observe in your books. So you will find that this here O sound is repeated, I sound is repeated, that I and I. It is not necessary that in assonance that sound should be at the beginning of the word. It may be in between or at the end. Right? So here I sound is repeatedly used or prominently used. That's why here there will be assonance. Again, in this line you see that I sound is again prominently used. I, again O, again I. In this way, assonance figure of speech is used here. So I hope that you might have understood this. Again, one figure of speech is here, that is enjambment. Last year also we have seen enjambment. What is enjambment? Enjambment is continuation of the sentence in more than 2 lines. मतलब एक ही सेंटेंस जो है विदाउट पंक्चुएशन 2 से ज्यादा लाइन में जो कंटिन्यू होता है तो उसको क्या बोलते हैं? एंजाम्पमेंट बोलते हैं। तो एंजाम्पमेंट जो है वो देखिए इस लाइन आखिरी 3 लाइन में है। यहाँ पर देखिए कोई भी पंक्चुएशन नहीं है। You can see in your book that यहाँ पर कोई भी पंक्चुएशन नहीं है। But this line is sentence is single. To say that for destruction is also great and would suffice. To make it more beautiful, split the sentence in 3 lines. And that's why this portion or this figure of speech is called as enjambment. Last year also we have seen so many examples of enjambment. Nowadays so many poets use this enjambment to make their poems very effective. So in this way, we come to an end. Here we are going to conclude our poem. I hope that you might have understood all the concepts. If you have any problem, you can make me phone calls and ask your difficulties. I found that so many students are not doing their homework on my Google Classroom. So almost 36 joined, but yet very few people used to submit it. So I honestly appeal you to submit your homework regularly, and I hope that again in the next video we will meet with another poem or text. Thank you very much. Thank you.